everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Shad'O. I have to confess it was a kind of absurdly and embarrassingly long time before I realized that this was a play on words and it was supposed to be like shadow. For a while I was just like, what the hell does Shad'O represent? Like Shad apostrophe O. Anyway, long story short, I'm an idiot, and this is a new tower defense game that is out on Steam. I can already hear like, boo, hiss, tower defense. 2012, year of the puzzle platformer and tower defense games. Well, indeed, if you're a huge detractor of the tower defense genre, Shad'O is probably not a game that's going to appeal to you, but we all knew that coming into this. What I am pleased to say is that Shad'O does kind of take the genre and twist it just a little bit. I mean, it doesn't turn it on its head like an Orcs Must Die or an Iron Brigade or anything like that, but it does offer some kind of interesting new gameplay mechanics, and it presents things in kind of an interesting way. This is a game that if you are a tower defense fan, I could see it appealing to you. For other people, it's probably not going to draw you in. But in any case, let's let you make your own impressions as you hear my impressions as well, as we continue here. So there is, basically, unlike something like Tower Wars or, again, Iron Brigade, I'm going to be bringing up those games a lot over the course of this video, because those are some of the bigger tower defense games out this year on Steam. This is, like, entirely single-player based, and it is largely focused on the story. So we are this floating, like, where the wild things are type dude right here. This yellow guy that you can see in the abyss here, named William. And William is basically like a European child who is losing his memory. So all of this like blackness and shadow that you can see down here is actually forgetfulness. So forgetfulness is trying to claim all of William's memories. And basically what the premise is as we go to a level, let's try Cushion Mountain, because I've already done this one before. This might actually put us in nightmare mode, which could be incredibly difficult for me, but we'll see. I think it will. Oh, awesome. Okay, so we'll probably die here. But in any case, what we're trying to do is basically protect our memory, which is this well that you can see here. And the way that we're going to do this is in standard tower defense style. It also has a lot of Plants vs. Zombies mixed in. So this is like our light down here, and this is what we use to buy towers. So the first thing we're going to do is buy some collectors, and we're going to put these collectors. You can almost think of these things basically as sunflowers. We're going to put these down next to this light well down here, and this light well should provide us with currency as we move forwards here. Now, we do have a lot of kind of leftover currency here, so what we're going to buy is perhaps one of these, which, as we click on it, you can see is a projector. Casts a continuous beam of light that damages all enemies it touches. So there's two different kinds of damage that I've come across so far. Luminous damage, which is like shining lights, and physical damage, which we will also see a little bit of in a second. So, we have our shadows spawning here. The 2 stars represents that they are the second level, almost like in an RPG type context. We should probably put another turret down here, or we are just gonna get bum-fucked here right from the get-go. That one is probably gonna get through. Like I said, I kind of didn't expect to end up on nightmare mode here, but let's put a shooter down here. You can see the shooters firing right here, and this could potentially save us from taking a ton of damage on our well here as this guy comes through. So this black stuff that you can see around here is shadow, and as we place turrets, the shadow... Oh, can he do it? I think he can do it. As we place turrets, the shadow will actually, like, repeal a little bit so that we can see more of what is to come. So I think we are going to take damage on this last guy, though. Oh, no, never mind. So as you can see, when shadows die, they actually drop... I forget what it's called in this game, but basically this is mana that you are going to use to cast spells. So I'll show the spells a little bit later on once they become more essential, I would say. But for now, you can see that I've got these 4 turrets. I've got the collector, I've got the shooter, I've got like one of each set up. More collectors, obviously. But I tend to use the illuminator or the projector most of all, because most of my strategy revolves around basically just doing like as much continuous damage as possible. Unfortunately, at level 1, these don't really do a whole hell of a lot of like area of effect damage, so I'm probably gonna need to throw another turret down here to stand any chance. But we also have this like pusher here. I think it's puncher? Puncher, yes. The puncher slows the shadows advance and causes physical damage with its shockwave. So this is kind of like similar to, I mean, all of these turrets are to a certain extent similar to ones that you will see in other tower defense games. We've got our turret that slows progress. We've got our turret, oh, we can maybe do it? No, we took a little damage there. So you can see that we lost a little HP, but that's okay. We've got like, yeah, our slowing turret, our standard shooting turret, almost like a missile or rocket turret, sort of. Not really, but to a certain extent you could classify it like that. And also, you know, as in a standard tower defense game, we can upgrade turrets. So once you get upgrades for your turrets, which you have to purchase at the end of each level, or earn at the end of each level, we can upgrade them here. So I'm going to upgrade all of our collectors. Seems like a good idea to get our info... Oh, this is shitty. That thing is rolling around in an eggshell, meaning that I actually have to have a puncher to break it, because eggshells are immune To luminous damage, we can only do physical damage to take them out. So we are probably going to take some damage here again. Sometimes it actually is weird compared to other tower defense games in that I tend to take more damage at the start than at the end. Usually in tower defense games, you know, there's a huge wave at the end and you take a ton of damage. Not so here. Usually I take more damage. Oh man, this one's gonna hurt too. Usually I take more damage at the start, but this is nightmare mode, so I may actually die on this one. You never know. We are already about, you know, 25% of the way down. So, we definitely need to put down some more kind of like infrastructure here. Let's take another puncher because we are going to need to punch through these eggshells. So it is important to have a mix of like physical damage and the other kind of damage as well, luminous damage. You should probably use another puncher like right here actually too, and then the one at the very end can get the ones that actually manage to get by here. So as we punch through those eggshells, you can see the black shadows working their way through. By the way, you can click on these enemies and see, oh, this is a Gloomio. It's a tiny weak shadow. And we are almost ready to cast some spells, which I will probably avoid doing for right now, but will do in the near future. By the way, if you look down in the bottom middle, you can see our progress here. So that's like the number of waves that we've had is represented by the pink, fuchsia, magenta type color there. And obviously when that bar fills up to the top, that is the end of our round here. So let's upgrade some of these luminous turrets here, the projectors. After every level, you get a chance to either purchase one spell or one upgrade. I have not purchased the upgrade for the puncher yet. That's why you don't see like an upgrade option there. You do see a sell option though, which is important sometimes. And I don't have the upgrade for the shooter yet either. I just have the upgrade for the collector because, of course, if you've ever seen me play tower defense before, you know I like to focus on my infrastructure, much to the chagrin of Michael A.L. Fox. Referencing, of course, the Tower Wars video there. But I also like to upgrade our pure damage dealers here. So we will probably start casting some spells soon. I might throw down another turret down here just because I don't know if this one puncher is going to be enough to do it. Oh, that's the asshole that... Oh, man, this is not good. This is severely not good. We're probably going to get below 50% here. Okay, we did manage to kill that one. We're probably like right at 50% actually. So I think what we need to do is toss down like another like puncher here. Maybe here even. And then maybe another shooter in the meantime as well. By the way, I should point out, even though this is one of the earliest levels, this is actually a harder version of this level because we've already completed it once. It's almost like a New Game Plus style. We'll show off another level soon. This enemy that you can see right here actually shoots crows that reduce our zone of light, which is basically our visibility, which makes it more difficult to shoot enemies. But we have fully upgraded some of our luminous turrets here, our projectors. So I'm just going to continue to focus on you know, putting like some shooters down here. Probably could use even another puncher. Like 2 is probably not enough for a lot of these. But it might, we're gonna need another luminous turret as well. Another projector. I'm just gonna call them luminous turrets because I don't know, I played Dota for too long. That was probably not a good way to put that projector, but we're almost to the end here. If I can just survive a little bit longer. So let's start casting some spells once we get through this section right here. So our collector's still working there. We could almost use like another puncher actually because there's still eggshells getting through, which is unfortunate. And then we'll focus on projector turrets. So let's cast this spell right here. What this does is allows our projector turrets to do way more damage for 10 seconds. It was actually an incredibly poor use of my time there because not all of the enemies were actually in range of my projector at that point. But you can see that we used 10 spell points or 10 points in order to make that happen. Let's cast it again. It's got a 10-second cooldown, but it allows us to take these enemies out as they go through us more reliably. And we might want to put one more projector like here or something, because our base right here seems to at least do a decent job of slowing things down. It's here where things start to have a pretty substantial problem. And we'll upgrade these, of course, in the future as well. So what you really want to do, you kind of want to manage not only... It's a little bit of a mixture between something like a gratuitous tank battles where you're upgrading... You know what? Let's upgrade one of these projectors already. A gratuitous tank battles where you're kind of like setting your turrets and then just letting it happen, or even like a field runners kind of works sort of similar to that. And a Tower Wars where you're also dealing with things on the fly, because you are casting spells as much as possible if you want to succeed anyway. This is a game that is not necessarily super difficult, even though I'm sucking total ass at it right now. You know, that's oftentimes just the Let's Play curse, is that when you start recording a video, any skill that you had in the game is completely gone by the time you actually start that recording process. But anyway, I wouldn't necessarily say the game is difficult by any stretch of the imagination so far, but it does require a little bit of, you know, micromanagement, and I hesitate to say that because that's kind of making it seem more complex than it actually is. However, it does require that you focus on at least 2 things at once, let's say. You got to focus on the amount of points that you have and then making sure that you constantly cast spells. By the way, this other spell that I have here is just a healing spell. So I think we've got maybe 2 more waves. Okay, this is our last wave, actually. Whenever it says incoming danger, that means final wave. So I'm going to toss down another projector here, and probably another projector, actually. Try to do as much damage as possible, because usually, in typical tower defense fashion, this will... Oh, we need more punchers, for sure. In typical tower defense fashion, usually we have, like, one huge enemy that we're going to have to deal with here. So you need one more puncher here. There we go. We'll put that down right there. Obviously, you can only put down turrets on areas where Shad'O has already been revealed, or repealed, I guess you could say, even. So I am gonna just hope that this is actually working out for the best for us. We'll crank up our luminous damage here. I'll put down some more punchers along the way, because that big one is not even close to being dead yet. So I'm probably just gonna focus on punchers and casting spells over and over, actually. So we're almost to another puncher. I can cast another spell here. Tons of stuff on the ground. By the way, you have to actually, like, physically collect that. Well, not physically collect it, I guess, is not the correct way to describe it. Let's sell one of these shooters, actually, and then get ready to pick up another puncher to put in his place. I think this one is actually going to get all the way through. But I'm not sure if that is going to do enough damage to actually, like, completely screw me here. We'll see. The good thing about the puncher is that while doing damage, it also does slow the enemy. Might be good to upgrade the puncher as we move forward here. There we go. Alright, so we can sell these turrets now and pick up more punchers, but again, this is going to be super close. I don't know if I like how close this is going to be, actually. Put another one down here, and hopefully this one is enough to save us. I'm just going to watch what happens here. I don't think it's going to be enough, but hopefully this isn't enough to actually end our run here. Otherwise, that'll be pretty disappointing. Did we succeed? That looks like success on the part of the shadows. It's hard to tell. Please tell me what happened. Mission failed? Memory protected, okay. I was a little bit confused there. But we did actually manage to succeed. So I guess there wasn't all that much drama in the last wave anyway. It seems to work on a similar kind of mechanic as, you know, an Orcs Must Die, where it's almost like enemy types. And a number of enemies that get to the end. It's not just like if one enemy gets to the end, you're fucked. By the way, you know, you get a little kind of picture every time you finish a level that kind of goes a little way towards piecing together the story. It seems like someone in William's family became sick at some point recently. So, as I said, we can choose to get some spells here, so we can get a spell like dispels and protects the companions from all disabling effects for 10 seconds, so that enemy that shot like crows at us to prevent us from seeing, that would dispel that. You can also get some more useful stuff like boost the amount of collected luminous resources during 20 seconds. That is pretty good, actually. And other spells, you know, like we can freeze time. We can sacrifice 40% of our life from the companions, like the turrets that we have, because they actually can take damage, to give 15% of life back to the memory. I actually don't like that so much. Usually my companions are more vulnerable than my enemies. And we can also upgrade turrets. So let's put my money where my mouth is. Let's upgrade our puncher here. And that will actually cause it to have more life, which is good because it'll probably take damage at some point. And it will also have a longer duration on its slow, and it will do more damage when it punches down, because it's not just a slow, it also does damage as well. So that's a level that I've already done, and now I've completed it on Nightmare mode, which I guess means that it will have a yellow kind of sim diamond on top of it, as opposed to a standard blue one. And let's check out one of these levels here. So we'll check out the Slabs Waterfall. This is the first time I've ever played this one, so there's always the possibility that I could potentially lose. By the way, I'd say these levels average, you know, 7, 8, 10 minutes each. This is my 7th or 8th level, I would say, so I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours into the game so far. And again, I'm normally, by the way, let's just put our collectors down quick so I'm not totally fucking myself here. I'm not normally a huge fan of tower defense, and this, I have to confess, is probably because I'm not a huge fan of tower defense and I'm just so fatigued with the genre, is not a game that I would probably spend time with in my own personal time. However, it is probably one of the more cooler tower defense games that I've played so far this year. Although, you know, in spite of my, I'm not going to say hatred necessarily, but in spite of my opposition a lot of times to tower defense games, there have been a lot of decent ones this year. Like Orcs Must Die 2 is obviously really good. We should upgrade these guys while we can, get our infrastructure out there before too many enemies come down. By the way, there will be alternate paths here that they will take, but for now, they're just going to take this one, which is fine by me. Is this going to be enough, or are we going to take damage right off the bat as usual? I think this is going to be enough, because we're not on Nightmare mode anymore. It should be a little bit easier for us. Let's upgrade our infrastructure a little bit more. I should probably buy one more turret. But I don't think I need one just yet, although it might be close. One shooter might be enough to just make this happen for now, so let's do that. put a shooter down here. This will probably be a level where we actually have enemies coming to shoot us. But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, yeah, tower defense games, it's not because the games are bad that I don't like them, it's just because there's too many games like this. There's one that I need to upgrade still. Here we go. Like, Iron Brigade is good, Orcs Must Die 2 is good, Tower Wars is good. I still don't spend much time playing them outside of actually recording them for those Let's Look Ats because I'm just so sick of, like, this tower defense formula. So I really think it's time, to a certain extent, that this genre just gets retired and the talent that's working on it goes to work on other stuff. This is a bad situation for us here. We might lose a lot of health unless that turret goes up much more quickly than I'm expecting it to. We could also crank out that spell pretty soon. Maybe we'll get lucky here. Maybe we'll get very lucky here and won't take any damage at all. Okay, that was incredibly lucky. I did not deserve to not take damage there. Alas, that is how things have worked out so far. So now my infrastructure's up and I don't have to worry about that. We do have these assholes though. Flies above the ground, keeping it out of the range of some attacks. If that is out of the range of my projectors, then we have a serious problem on our hands. It's almost certainly out of the range of the punchers, I'm gonna guess. But if it's only gonna get hit by shooters, then that's really bad for us. And it looks like it is only going to be hit by shooters. But it has low health, but it's just going to breeze through here and probably do damage to us, like, immediately. Yeah, that sucks. So we're going to have to focus a little bit more on making shooters, I guess. Which is fine. I mean, shooters also do damage to enemies on the ground. But what it does mean is that this spell that causes, like... Oh, I guess increasing luminous damage doesn't just affect the projectors. It also affects the shooters as well, because they shoot luminous damage, actually. Alright, so actually we should probably cast that spell next time these guys come through. Please, just make it happen. Ah, he managed to get in. Okay. So let's put one more shooter down here, because you never know if those enemies are going to come. And now these guys are going to come the other way, and that's really bad because I have, you know, almost completely focused on the other side. So let's start by just putting down a puncher to slow their progress a little bit. I probably should have put that further over here. But at least this will do some damage as they come in. And we are going to desperately need some extra luminousness soon. It's not doing very much damage. And I want to put a projector, but we might... I'm going to put a projector. I'm going to not worry so much. If we take a whole bunch of damage here, so be it. Like, that shit happens sometimes, right? We're going to put this right here. And what we will also do is, as these guys come through, we will cast a spell. I could have sold some of these, but I'm just not going to sweat it too much right now. We will cast the spell as these turrets, or as these enemies actually make their way through here. So that I should be doing more damage with my projector. We'll at least stop a couple of them from getting in here. Wow. Maybe we'll actually stop all of them. That was incredibly lucky, but you don't need me to tell you that. You could probably tell just by the tone of my voice and as I started shitting myself. Okay, so I heard, like, screamers, I think that is. The screamers are a total pain in the ass because they actually do damage to your companions. Luckily, I do have a healing spell. It costs 20 pieces of Shad'O, but it's probably going to be incredibly useful. It's probably not going to be enough to really super, like, help me out. As you can see, they take a lot of damage, and especially when we get, like, a ton of these screamers coming in at once, it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. However, at least we have some kind of protection going for this here. I wish I could cast that spell, but I can't. Instead, we'll just put another slower down here, but we are probably going to lose a little bit of extra health on our memory here, but I think largely we will probably succeed. Maybe we'll lose, like, you know, 10% or something, 25%. I can live with that. That's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. And we should probably... I mean, I don't want to cast my... I'm going to have to. Just to give us a chance here. And it still wasn't enough. Okay, so that was really, really bad. Now, where are the shadows coming? They're continuing to come this way, which is not awesome for us at all. But let's continue just popping down some of these shooters here. We've just got to find a way to do more damage. And also, I need to find a way to get more life faster. Because, we do have the... Oh, sliders. Okay, good thing I made another shooter. The sliders are the ones that fly, which is weird to me. I would have called them flyers personally, but maybe that's more of a personal thing. We're probably going to take a little bit more damage here because I have completely fucked up how I should set up this level. And our memory is pretty much getting shellacked here. But keep in mind, as I said, my main problem here was that I focused entirely on... like that right side without saving any pieces or any sunlight here for our other side. So where are they coming now? They're coming back this way. That's good for us. We'll put down another shooter like here, if possible. This should make it a little bit harder for those sliders to get through. And they are not coming through this side here, but we should still save some sunlight for when that does happen. Might not be a bad idea to cast the spell, but I would rather collect some pieces right now and then use them for healing a little bit later. So we'll put down another shooter down here, just because it doesn't seem like I'm doing quite enough damage. Again, I don't have the level 2 shooter yet, so a lot of these guys might get through, unfortunately. But, I mean, the Sunlight Well does damage in its own right. Oh, man, it managed to get in there. It shouldn't have. It was, like, so close to death. And now they're coming both ways, and this is where things are going to get pretty hectic for me. And this might actually be where we lose this run, in which case I will just go Nightmare Mode on an earlier level, because clearly I am not capable of playing this tower defense game. Let's put another shooter down here. We are going to have a lot of Screamers coming through, and that's going to be unfortunate for us. It seems like they're mostly coming... they're kind of splitting it up and coming both ways. We're just going to have to hope for the best. There is a way of kind of speeding time up, but I don't think that would be a prudent use of my resources right now, considering that I'm already getting fucked and I'm trying to keep it on, like... By the way, let's use this heal right now, and you can see that these guys will get healed to full. But it's more of these guys that had some serious health problems. Here we go. Let's see if it works. Could probably use another shooter down here. And one of these guys is going to get through at the very least. Possibly more. That guy has no chance to not get through. I think we can only really let one more enemy in. That is not good for us. And I think we just need more shooters, because it's mostly like sliders that are getting through. The sliders, of course, being the flying enemies. I know, doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. And they're mostly getting through on our left side. By the way, these Screamers, such a pain in the ass. You can see, like, some of these turrets that I bought, even fairly recently, are already getting close to death. Because what those Screamers do is, like, an area of effect attack. So every time that they scream, they do damage in a range. So I'm just going to cast this heal very quickly. Hopefully this will keep my turrets alive over here. More or less, although they are still fairly low on health. But we can cast that fairly frequently, because these guys do drop 2 health each. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about this. Could almost use, like, another turret like that. I'm not even sure if that's in range. Hopefully it is, though. Alright, we managed to survive that. This might be our last wave. It might only be our second to last wave. By the way, I think I mentioned this already, but you do have to, like, move your mouse over the pieces of shadow that drop on the ground in order to pick them up. So I'll wait to tell you my overall impressions, though. We did lose a turret over here. My overall impressions on Shad'O until I probably die here. But suffice it to say, I mean, I think I've articulated it fairly well so far, that it's, like, it's decent, and it's kind of a cool presentation. Like, I like this aesthetic style where it's kind of like a kid's psyche, basically. Like, there's all these, like, patchwork cushions and stuff that show up. That's the best way I can describe it. It all seems stitched together like a quilt that Grandma would have given you on Christmas morning. Maybe that's a better way to put it. But is that enough to make me get over the fact that this is a genre that I'm just so fucking sick of? Unfortunately, it's not. And I mean, I wish that... This is a game that I think is well done. I just wish it wasn't in this genre, if that makes any sense. And maybe that's not a fair comparison to Levy. I'm sure there's people out there who absolutely love tower defense games, and for those of you who are a part of that group, you might find that Shad'O is a whole lot of fun. I've been having fun with Shad'O, but it's definitely a game that in my leisure time, I wouldn't... Oh man, this is gonna suck. Is that a slider? Oh, that's real bad. We are gonna need some more shooters here. Because that guy is almost certainly gonna get through, and if he gets through, I'm pretty sure we're done. Oh, I guess also, he just doesn't even care about the path. He's just gonna, like, make his own way over here. He doesn't have a whole lot of health. We need to increase our luminous damage. I should be casting spells here. This is our last chance right here. If we can get a huge boost from these shooter turrets now. Nope, I think he is pretty... Oh, maybe! We got him! I can't believe it. Now all we gotta do is, like, stop him on this side. Amazingly, we managed to protect the memory there. Surprising to me? I assure you I'm better at this game and I'm not talking about it constantly over top, but I'm not that self-conscious about my skills in Shad'O. I think it's pretty clear if you've watched me play tower defense before that I'm basically garbage at this game. Somehow we managed to succeed there, probably basically as a result of that clutch spell at the very end. But I think that level gives us a clue that we should probably upgrade our shooter turrets. So again, the story gets told a little bit through cutscenes, but also through these pictures that we get at the end of each level. So we will just load in here. And we will upgrade our shooter turret, or at least make it possible for our shooter turret to be upgraded. And then occasionally there's also a little bit of voice acting that happens, like you're William and like your teddy bear talks to you. For my money, they have pretty annoyingly cloying accents, and sometimes the English is a little bit wonky. But I'm guessing that now that we've gotten this like boss area here appearing, we are going to hear some more dialogue right now, so you can judge for yourself.
Oh, what a frightening rock. What is it?
I reckon it is in our way to other memories.
Look! All the pictures we found are hovering near it.
Let's go closer and watch.
So, I'm not sure if this is like a boss level or something. This is the first time all of this has come together, by the way.
Oh, my head. I can nearly remember, but something prevents me to.
Come on, William. Close your eyes and forget the whole story. We're looking after everything.
Guy sounds trustworthy.
Your scare is paralyzing you, Will. You have to face it. You have to overcome. You can do it.
Don't listen to him, or you will rue the day.
Again, find the voice acting a little bit weird sometimes. I was gonna end the video, but you know what? While we're on this boss, it's the first time I've ever been here. Let's check it out. Maybe it'll totally reverse my opinion. I think I'm doing my due diligence as we play right here. So I'm not sure what's up with this, lava on the ground. I'm gonna guess that that is the path that they are gonna take. Oh lord. Looks like me when I haven't shaved for a couple days.
You dare come and brave me? It's laughable, isn't it? You can't win, because you don't really want to remember.
Okay, Tommy Wiseau.
Don't leave it to him, Will. Get rid of him.
So I'm not really sure what strategy I'm going to employ here. So what I'm going to do is exactly the same thing I've always done. Let's pop down some collectors. Maybe this time I actually have to build the turrets, like, to make the path to him and then shoot him with the turrets. While still, like, defending myself from enemies that he will spit out. That would be my guess here, just off the get-go. I could be totally wrong, but we shall see. So let's pop down these dudes right here, and then we will start building a nice little stable of damagers for ourselves. So I'll put this projector up here. This is the way I've kind of like, you can see that now on the bottom it's like a health bar as opposed to like a progress bar. So he is creating some enemies that I can hear right now. This is actually the way that I started playing this game. Wow, those guys are fast on this lava. That is not necessarily a good thing for me. Yeah, when I first started playing this game, I was playing it like I wanted to actually like get all the way to the end, like remove the shadow the entire way on the path. We're gonna take a little bit of damage here, which is unfortunate. Honestly, I don't think it's that important to focus on your getting your collectors up. I don't think it has that big of an influence, because they only collect one extra sunlight, it seems, for each extra level up that they get, which is not a whole hell of a lot. I mean, it adds up over the course of an entire game, I'm sure. And it seems like if you watch, my puncher is actually like doing damage to the boss now. So I think this is kind of like an offensive style tower defense that we're trying to do now. Of course, the puncher is doing about 0 damage. But that is okay for now, because I'm still kind of in like just a defensive mode. So we'll focus on building out while still having kind of like a sustainable defense going on here. And it looks like our projector is now doing a little bit of damage to the boss, which is good. I definitely want to make sure that my puncher is focusing on... We'll make our luminous damage go more here. I'm guessing that as he gets hit, he's probably going to send out like bigger and bigger pains in the ass for us to deal with. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be much of a video game, would it? So he has created a lot more shadow as well, which is a problem. Although it is now being dispelled, I guess. Ooh, these guys might get through to the end. One of them got through, I think. But we're still doing okay, I would say. Toss another projector down, like right here. And continue, I think, spamming that like spell that increases our luminous damage is going to be important as well. That's going to allow us to do a lot more damage to him. So we can do that right now. He's hitting us with lightning strikes all over. The reason that's going to be a huge pain in the ass is if he actually manages to kill any of our collectors. Apart from that, I'm not going to sweat it a whole hell of a lot. And actually, that shadow's a big problem because it actually lowers my range that I can attack these guys from. That's where the big problem is resulting from this. Apologies, I'm kind of figuring out this boss fight as I go on the fly here. I kind of expected that it would just be standard, tower defense all the way through, but that does not appear to be the case. Again, take my impressions of Shad'O as positive, but like positive with an asterisk. It's like, like, this is good cocaine, right? I mean, I don't necessarily enjoy it on the whole, but for what it is, it's one of the better ones in this genre that I've played recently, at least. Let's put another projector over here. This asshole is a total dick. He actually shoots, this guy right here, shoots shadows at us that cause us to lose a ton of health. That is going to be a serious problem. We're going to lose some turrets over here, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. As long as I still have the turrets on my defense, I don't feel so bad. I don't feel so risky anyway. Oh, I think one's going to get through there. Oh, man. We really need, A, more turrets. Although we're doing a ton of damage, so we're probably going to succeed regardless. And B, we need to collect more shadow points here. Or shadow balls. What are they called? Pieces of shadow. Using the Kingdom Hearts notation. So we can cast the healing spell that I want to cast. There we go. Alright, so we'll get at least a little bit of healing going on. And we'll just continue throwing down maybe some more projectors down here. That is probably going to eliminate some of my turrets as well with that lightning storm. The collectors are still kicking it though, which is fine by me. We did manage to kill that one before he got into the end. You know what? Let's throw another projector down here. Because these guys are going to start breaking through, and that is going to be frustrating for me when they succeed. Oh man, there's like 5 of them. Ooh, we can only allow maybe one more enemy to get through to the end. You know what? If this fails though, we'll replay this level, because now that I know what I'm doing, I think I have a better chance. My principal problem right here, and I noticed it right away, yeah, we're screwed. The big problem is that I didn't put down any punchers close to my base, so once they got there, they just started rolling through. So yes, I realized I failed to protect my memory here. Let's try it again.
No.
I have to confess, I find the voice acting in this really annoying, especially the teddy bear who's like, William, I'm talking in the most annoying accent ever, as slowly as I can, like you're 4 years old. I find that incredibly frustrating, and usually I'm just mashing the spacebar like, oh, get out of my head, British childhood. I didn't have a British childhood, by the way, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass there. I'm just saying, okay, so we can probably skip through some of this dialogue, although it takes an achingly slow time sometimes. Okay. So let's engage ourselves in some tower defensiveness here. We're going to put down some collectors. I think this is pretty standard stuff. And then I guess I'm going to focus less on building my offense right off the bat and more on building like a sustainable defense. And then worrying about building towards the enemy once I have a better base of operations for myself going on. So we're going to start, maybe we'll put down like a puncher here. And then like a shooter among the, like the curve here where it can get maximum kind of visibility. And I definitely want to make a projector as soon as possible as well, because those are my main damage dealers. And that's the entire reason, like, I got this spell that increases luminous damage. We have level 2 shooters now, which I probably should not ignore either. But let's put down a projector, like, right here, so that we don't, hopefully, end up letting too many of these early ones get into our base. Although we might end up letting some of them get into our base. Although it's possible we might actually succeed here if the puncher is generous. Yes, okay, excellent. So I think we could almost use another puncher like right up here to continue slowing them down before they get to our shooter. Just to give me some time to actually build up these turrets. Also, we're going to need these punchers because eventually those like eggshell ones are going to start coming. I think we could use another shooter up here for sure. And it doesn't seem like he does damage to us until we start doing damage to him. So I can kind of like abuse this, I think, anyway. And just create like a nice base for myself before we get going here. I could also upgrade these bad boys, but I don't really know if that's important. Again, they only give you +1 sunlight when you upgrade them for 40, so it'll take them 40 cycles to even pay for themselves, much less be useful. It seems kind of inefficient to me. Unless I'm completely missing something. Maybe they give you like +5 or something, in which case they would be incredibly useful. So we are oh, no, he's shooting his lightning storm out already. I don't like that. The lightning storm doesn't do that much damage. It was mostly like those screamers that did a ton of damage. And it looks like it may actually be based on time, not on actually doing damage to him. But I still think this is the right way to do things. I think it's important for us to build out first before we... Or build like our own defenses first before we start building into him. So we'll set up a pusher here, our puncher here, which will again just continue to slow these guys so they'll get like maximum hits by our other kind of enemies here, our other turrets I should say. And I'm saving all of my... What was I going to say there? I'm saving all of my... Damn, the shadow is spreading, which makes it difficult to actually like put down turrets where you want to, but that's okay. Now it's receding. But what was I going to say? I'm saving all of my shadow points here, my pieces of shadow, so that I can cast the spell to heal my guys when it becomes urgent to do so. So let's put down another projector, maybe like right here. We're starting to build a pretty solid base, I feel. I'd like to put down maybe another puncher early. And then maybe start working on some of the infrastructure that we will need to do damage to this guy. So let's put like a puncher here. This puncher is probably going to get sacrificed to a lot of those like early screamers and other things that shoot shadows at us and cause us to take damage. I kind of find that maybe I'm struggling to explain the mechanics of this game, but that's only because it uses like different terminology than a lot of tower defense games. Like instead of using turrets, they have companions. I really can't put one here. Let's put one here. Why can't I place one here? Maybe it's too close to another one. No, I seem to be able to do it just fine right now. Yeah, instead of calling them turrets or towers, they call them companions. Instead of calling them enemies, they call them shadows. Instead of calling it, you know, like points of some sort, they call it pieces of shadow. But in any case, we're still going okay here. We could probably use a heal. Let's cast one right now. We got another one in the books anyway, for whenever we want it. Waiting in the wings for its opportunity to be used. So now we're going to start doing some actual damage here. And so is he, sadly. But if we manage to put a nice projector here. Now, what I want to do is upgrade these projectors at the base of the boss, because they will probably do more damage to him that way. Well, they will definitely do more damage to him that way. However, I also want to make sure I have enough to buy new turrets if the situation arises where we need them, because he is doing a lot of damage. But anyway, we're doing this more the slow and steady style, I would say. Taking off, you know, maybe like 2% every couple of seconds here. An easy way to say that might be like 1% a second. Definitely I feel this is a more sustainable approach than the approach I took in the last attempt anyway. And we can bust out a heal whenever we choose. But for now, maybe let's just toss down a shooter like right... we'll just use this as like a damage control to stop the enemies before they get too close. I don't think we need to use a heal just yet. We'll just save up for that. And maybe we'll toss down a shooter like here. I'm not sure what does more damage, the projector or the shooter. But we will, why not use 10 here to just cause us to do more luminous damage, which will make his damage, as you can see down here at the bottom, tick down even faster. And we'll get ready to use our heals now, because we have a lot of these enemies that are coming up that scream and, you know, shoot shadows at us, and they're basically just assholes overall. So let's cast one heal. We've got another one basically waiting for us anyway, and I think, you know, why not also cast extra luminous damage? Again, this is just making him get taken down way faster. I think we got a good chance of this. This is a much better way of doing things than the way I did things the first time. And we should get enough pieces of shadow to get a heal done fairly quickly as well. So if we can just slow that shooter down. It's almost like those turrets don't work when the electrical storm is on, which is incredibly frustrating. I mean, obviously that's the intention, but still frustrating. So he's got about 30% of his health left. This has been surprisingly strategic. It took me a couple tries, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's overly difficult. But still, I had to employ a different strategy than I did the first time. So I applaud that. It is a little bit more strategic than I typically treat a lot of tower defense games. And that's not necessarily a knock on other tower defense games. It's potentially a knock on how I play other tower defense games. So we're just going to keep basically doing what we're doing here. We're almost out of pieces of shadow that we could use for a heal, which is unfortunate because we're getting to the situation where we would want to use more pieces of shadow for a heal. But hopefully we'll be able to take out these guys quickly enough to, you know, amass another small fortune. Why am I not making more turrets when we have, like 500 pieces of sunlight here? That is pretty dumb of me. Let's just spam projectors, basically. And that should be enough to take him out before too much other stuff gets done here. Because he's at like 10% and losing fast. Let's just crank up our luminosity, and that should be enough to kill him. Alright, you know what? I actually kind of enjoyed that boss fight. It's a little bit different than your standard tower defense stuff. At least adds a little bit of variety, because you are playing both like offensively and defensively at the same time. I assume we're going to get another cutscene here, and though it pains me to do so, I will shut up as we watch it. Because it's probably going to be the most significant story-based cutscene that we've seen so far. And you know what? Usually I'm worried about spoilers, but for now, I mean, who plays a tower defense game for story usually? Even if the story is intended to be a major selling point as it is right here.
A woman is looking at me. She looks panic-stricken. My whole body is aching. Who are these people? I feel threatened. Some of them come and take me into their noisy car. I feel sick. A light turns on and out. I feel colder and colder. How frightened I feel.
Yeah, no kidding, he's in the hospital.
At last, it's peaceful. Dad? Mom? I feel so sleepy. The town! It happened there.
Alright, so I mean, as much as I kind of ragged on the story and the voice acting, it is at least admirable to a certain extent that they chose to focus on the story so much in a genre that typically does not really focus on it so much. If I could return to the title screen here, I would love to do that. Because I want to end this video. I'm getting a little hot and sweaty here, and I have played enough of Shad'O, I think, to show off what the heck is going on here. So basically, should you buy Shad'O? I mean, it depends on your level of fatigue with tower defense games. It's a good tower defense game, at least in my opinion. Should you buy it? I mean, it's $10, which is reasonable for a game like this. However, I'm so fucking sick of tower defense games, and I mean, I appreciate that the developers put a lot of effort into this one. It's a fine game. It's not a bad or a terrible game by any stretch of the imagination, but I will not be playing it once, you know, I stop the Fraps recording and upload the video to YouTube, simply because I'm so fucking sick of this genre. Please, if you are an indie developer out there and you are developing a game, you're like proof of concepting it or something, not tower defense, I beg you, they're not all bad, but just because you make a good tower defense game, it doesn't mean people are going to want to play it. At least that's one man's opinion. I know a lot of people do enjoy tower defense games, but man, fatigue for this genre is definitely setting in for me. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.